Good morning, doctor. Welcome back.
Good morning, Venkatesh. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Nice to hear your voice in full strength, right?
And yours. Thank you. Thank you.
Good. Thanks to you. Very good.
So I'll just introduce today's topic and then hand
Right,
over. Today's topic is lifestyle diseases. And the reason we are tackling lifestyle diseases is that it's the most obvious way to understand what happens when one's life is not in balance. And it's the most obvious way to see that one does not have wellness. So, wellness is both physical and mental. But when physical wellness is not there, its strongest manifestation is lifestyle diseases. And that's the
right,
reason why it's part of our series on wellness in the real world. And
right,
the theme of balance is the essence. Yeah.
right.
Uh, Doctor, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Venkatesh. Now, balance is something that is going to be with us, mind you, all through 360 degrees. Now, this is
Right.
something that we have to keep reminding ourselves again and again and again. Because
Right.
this balance we're talking about is 360 degrees balance, and it influences and affects all aspects of our life
Right.
from great to grave. So
Right.
that makes it a bit formidable, but it is true. Anything less than that is a waste.
Right.
Okay? If you're not putting your very best in life, then you are wasting your life. And this is should be something done over a period of time all through.
Right.
And we will see how this particular dimension of our living can have its effect on physical health.
Yeah.
Presently, we are going to look at physical health at the balance level. But as we go along, we will see mental health, emotional health, and eventually spiritual health also. So,
Correct.
holistic influence of whatever we are doing is to be kept in mind through and through as a backdrop. This
Absolutely.
may sound a little too hypothetical, but it is not.
Right.
Any slip up will immediately affect the entire three-way traffic of body, mind, and soul. And
Right.
that's what you see here. Okay.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Fine. Now, what is wrong with today's lifestyle? First, let us see if I talk about lifestyle at all. It's understood that lifestyle is not proper, and that's why we are getting into lifestyle diseases.
Right.
Some people call it lifestyle disorder,
Right.
but many people started calling it lifestyle disease because that disorder manifests itself as a disease. So sooner or later, you have got a disease.
Yeah.
That's a very dangerous thing to have.
Right.
And this disease is not going to go away. You
Right.
can't wish it away unless you change your lifestyle.
Correct.
Now, yeah, it may sound a little contorted, but we have to see that these aspects of living today
Right.
are bit complex, that it is affecting your heart, lungs, and skin and intestines and whatever.
Right.
And this is where we have major health problems
Correct.
that we can see in hospital setting. Supposing you send in the hospital, you send blood for a blood test.
Right.
The technician looks at the blood, then decides what kind of test is to be done,
Right.
and then you have problems. And what kind of problem you will see, but that has something to do with the way you live. Sedentary life is a major problem in today's lifestyle. So
Absolutely.
today's lifestyle problem is what? Sedentary life. Don't shake ourselves well enough. I won't use a foreign word, but
Right.
we have to shake yourself up. And
Right.
then you have comments to offer?
No, I think absolutely. You've said this many times over as a doctor that I remember over my lifetime, that so many patients come to doctors saying, "I have this thing that just doesn't go away," and finally the answer lies in their lifestyle rather than in a specific set of medications. And I guess this is the backdrop to what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think apart from the ones you mentioned today, diabetes is another one that keeps manifesting itself, and often it is to do with the fact that we weren't built to be couch potatoes.
Right. Very true. And just to add to what Venkatesh said, 80 to 90% of hospital bills and 80 to 90% of healthcare spend at a complete comprehensive level,
Right.
80% or even 95% is because of a wrong way of living,
Right.
wrong life.
Right.
And if it becomes sedentary, then you are in trouble. Should
Right.
it become hyper aggressive, then you have to be in trouble. But you have to balance it out. This is where the balance comes in. You have
Correct.
to balance sedentary life with your busy life.
Right.
Because busy life is something you have to have anyway. Any comments, Hitesh?
No, absolutely. I guess over the next few slides, maybe we should explain why sedentary lifestyle is a problem and
Right.
why we need to be more active and what sedentary lifestyle means with respect to all things like diet, etc. And I'm assuming that's what you're going to speak about.
Right, right. We are going to talk precisely that particular aspect of that.
Yeah.
So next slide, please.
Yeah.
The whole problem with lifestyle, came about when Coca-Cola entered the third world. Yeah. And this word, Coca-colonization, was
Right.
coined by a pharmaceutical guy
Right.
from Australia and New Zealand. He was the first one to use Coca-colonization. And then it became so routine, so common that today people don't even mention about colonization, but they say it is all because of Coke, or it's all because of the way you drink. You drink wrong, yeah, you have a Coca colonization problem. And
Right.
you can drink wrong, either a soft drink or a hard drink, that you'll see what it does to your body chemistry.
Right.
Next slide.
So maybe I'll just maybe elucidate that a little. Is I think what we are talking about is sort of the gratuitous use of sugared drinks and intake of that level of calories and the things that go with it, right? I mean, people taking in a lot more sugar and a lot more food than they actually need to take in is what the subtext is. It's not just about Coke. It's about just that lifestyle that comes with it, correct?
Correct, absolutely correct, absolutely correct. Next slide, please.
Yeah.
The real culprit behind is not just Coca-Cola, but McDonald's. It came a wave of hamburger market, which
Right.
boomed, exploded literally, and McDonald's dominated the eating scenario all across the board. So whether you are in Australia or whether you are in India or something, McDonald's are playing with your lifestyle.
Right.
If you are eating some McDonald's hamburger, you are not eating your proper raw type of a balanced, freshly cooked food, then
Right.
you have a problem with your lifestyle.
Right.
And soon, very soon, McDonald's captured the entire market. And that means the entire population of all countries gets all disturbed. I would say screwed up, but gets quite badly affected. And Coca-Cola and hamburger put together is enough to hammer into nail into your coffin, if you like. And that is something you have to guard against.
Correct.
Yeah. Any comment, Venkatesh?
Sorry.
Any comment on that, McDonald's?
Yeah. No, again, I'll make the broader point maybe that whether it is Coke or McDonald's, we are broadly talking about fast food and a culture of, it's not just burger, it might be eating pizzas. It may not just be soft drinks, but it might be, like you said, hard drinks. It's a larger phenomenon. These are just representatives, the most visible ones of a culture of eating fast food, right?
Correct. So it's a cultural shift from rice and wheat onto more and more burgers and refined sugars and fat.
Correct.
Next slide. So here you can see Big Mac. Now, how the craze for more and more calorie consumption is affecting our lives and thinking and our overall behavior.
Right.
Now, there's this Big Mac, which became a big rage in the Western countries.
Right.
Well, there, the simple sandwich gave way to McDonald's hamburger type of thing. Hamburger means you have everything that you don't want. Physiologically, you don't want, but it is there. You eat bun, you have cheese, you have mayonnaise, you have almost anything under the sun.
Right.
And Big Mac, the worse it's going to get for your health.
Correct.
Yeah. Next slide, please. Now, to wash it down, you require a liquid. And what is that liquid? Plain water is not enough. You have to have Coke, Coca-Cola, that we saw just now. But nowadays, on top of that, along with every pizza, every hamburger type of a thing, you have beer.
Right.
And beer is more easy to drink and less easy to find out why you are going wrong with your eating.
Right.
They think that beer is something that is reasonably okay to drink. And
Right.
they will say, if you compare it with your wine and whiskey, beer is safer, but it is not.
Right.
So Coca-Cola, in place of beer or vice versa, is a new norm which is creating problems.
Correct.
Next slide, please. So what happens is in today's world, this kind of feeding of too many calories and fats and other things starts early in childhood.
Right.
And that leads to overweight children. Now, overweight children are a real problem, and accepting situations where, for example, in the days of Glaxo, when
Right.
the milk powder was the one that was constituting the drink for the milk for the baby,
Right.
it led to more and more consumption of calories.
Right.
And that led to overweight.
Right.
And that was taken as a sign of good health, paradoxically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the Glaxo babies were the enemy of the neighborhood.
Right.
And it is full of Glaxo babies.
Correct.
And everybody writes in that. They take photographs, they run competitions, and they do
Of the
all this sort of-
chubbiest baby.
Yeah, yeah. So what is the real problem is when these babies became adults,
Right.
they moved on from overweight babies to overweight adults, and this overweight will not go. It's going to stick with you till your cradle, till your
You're great,
yeah.
as it were. Yeah.
So that is where the problem started. And it is there today, even today at this very moment, there are people which is showing the seeds of adult obesity and even early deaths. Today we see people dying of all wrong metabolism kind of a thing by the age of 2025.
Right.
It is only yeah, comments, Venku?
No, absolutely. In fact, I think the statistics on overweight children and in sort of young age obesity across the
Yeah.
world. It was only in the Western world, and now I think it's increasingly coming to the East. And more and more economic studies are showing that as developing countries are growing GDP wise, you effectively have that problem even faster manifesting itself in the Eastern countries, because we used to use a lot less calories. Our bodies are built for far less calories in the tropics, for example. But now we consume calories at the same level as, let's say, folks in the West with different body structures. So that problem, which was a purely Western problem, has clearly become a global problem.
True, very true. So how colonization has its ramifications, as Venkatesh explained, and this is going to be there. One-way traffic. You've got fat in you, that fat will remain.
Correct.
Because you can indulge in cosmetic surgery and stuff like that. But that fat which you have gathered in childhood is going to be the death knell for you and your children. Maybe it's sounding rather harsh and stupid to put it that way, but the seeds of heart disease are sown right in childhood, and that is because of overweight. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So here it's a little bit of a graph or a chart which tells you how the world obesity level
Right.
has increased tremendously from the 90s up to 2022. And these are statistics taken from Lancet,
Right.
very respected journal. It says that obesity has started early in childhood and it is going to stay on and it is only increasing. If you compare 1990 figures with 2052, there is no escape from the fact that you are taking a hell of a lot of fat and getting a lot more fat. Next slide, please. Now, let's look at another aspect of lifestyle.
Right.
So how consumption of calories is ruining the life and sowing the seeds for very bad catastrophic cardiovascular developments.
Right.
And that is, if you want to know how to reduce it, it is very simple, Dr. Watson, as Sherlock Holmes would put it. Elementary, Dr. Watson, eat less.
Right.
Okay. If you say I'm eating fat. The child is getting a problem with lipids and all that. What to do? The answer is elementary, Dr. Watson. Eat less.
Correct.
Now that is something that should be driven, excuse me, home with great lot of weight and seriousness.
Right.
If you don't control your diet, you tend to become fat. You are in for real trouble. And there is no point in running to doctors and various CAT scans and stuff like that. Because the basic problem is in you, your lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah? See more of such lifestyle things shortly. Now the next one you are seeing is sleeping. This man is trying to sleep and he is not getting sleep.
Right.
What could be the reason? It could be that you've got office pressure, business pressure, etc. Or you are eating wrong the whole day. For example, a guy who is not falling asleep by 10:30 or 11,
Right.
he's eating wrong. If you look at his dietary habits, yeah, he's eating wrong right from breakfast.
Right.
You know? Benjamin Franklin said the elements of good living is what? Eat like a breakfast like a king.
Right.
Eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a commoner, and dinner like a pauper.
Perfect.
But nobody
Yeah.
follows that. Today we are doing exactly the opposite. We are turning its head upside down, and we eat very little breakfast, and we eat fairly decent lunch, and we eat the most with dinner.
Correct.
And that too with dinner. You have
Later
problems.
and later dinner. Yeah. Closer to closer when you sleep, and then you order. Even now with with the ability to order food home, people are ordering at 12 o'clock at night and 2 o'clock at night as well.
Right, right. So basically, most of the eating places and eating items are sponsored now. Nowadays, if you walk into any restaurant, you ask the guy, what are you eating? He say, I am eating A, B, C, D. He said, how much did you pay for it? He said, no, I don't know how much I paid. My sponsor pays for it. Today, every lunch, every dinner is sponsored. It may sound stupid, but it is. So people tend to, in Hindi they say, Sukat. Sukat is free. Like eating free, somebody is paying for that free, and that is disturbing your eating habits, and that is also disturbing your living habits, sleep, wake cycle.
Right.
This is calls for a separate chapter altogether.
Right.
But eating and sleeping
Are
together
interconnected. Yeah.
are interconnected. Yeah. And you eat wrong. If you ignore Benjamin Franklin, and if you say that old man had no sense in today's 22nd century life, you are wrong. So you are doing everything the wrong way, and the lifestyle that is disturbed is beginning to be corrected, and it may or may not be corrected at all. There are people who go to the grave obese.
Right.
Yeah? There is statistics available that most of the mortality cases are obese, etc.
Right.
Next slide. Now, sleep is getting affected. What is the reason? You tend to get less sleep because of these factors, and it is called sleep debt.
Right.
A deficiency or a debt in sleep because you go to sleep only at 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, early morning or 2 o'clock at night.
Right.
Yeah? So what are you doing exactly? You have stuffed in enough of carbohydrates to last you till midnight and beyond, and that
Energy
sleep debt
levels.
Yeah, Venkatesh.
No, I was saying your energy levels are too high for you to go back to sleep or to sort of wind down and go to sleep. Yeah.
Right. And that affects your sleep cycle, your electroencephalograms, all your studies on cardiac and other indices. We tell you very clearly that your correct time sleep is disturbed. Correct. And you run into a sleep debt. Right. Next slide, please. Slide. Now, sleep debt has its own effects, side effects or bad effects or whatever you call it. And if it is a short-term sleep debt, for instance, you didn't sleep because of a business meeting on Sunday, maybe.
Right.
Yeah. And by Monday, Tuesday, you correct yourself, then it is a short-term kind of thing. But if this keeps on happening, if you are having dinner meetings, professional dinner meetings every night, because you have to strike deals only over a drink.
Correct.
Then chronic sleep debt comes in and disturbs your entire personality. So lifestyle gets disturbed. So you don't get sleep at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, but you keep on staying awake till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And then you can imagine what all bad things can happen. Now,
Yeah.
a long sleep debt has its effect. Now, see the top item here is obesity and
Right.
diabetes. Now, obesity and diabetes go together. We
Right.
can look at it in a separate study
Correct.
slide there,
In a
because it's
separate
a
session. Yeah.
yeah. So it's something that you are going to live with, and
Correct.
however much you hate it, you get addicted to that. I will say you get addicted to food. You laugh at it, but you are addicted to food.
Yeah.
You are addicted to happiness. You are addicted to pleasure. You are addicted to so many things wrong that you
Correct.
don't know to get happiness out of what you have.
Yeah.
And you are drinking beer, and then you are giving some abuses to somebody else, doing all that. It's a very complex behavioral problem. It's the
Right.
behavioral issue.
Right.
And you have to break the vicious cycle somewhere. Yeah, Venkatesh, any
No,
comment?
I think perfect. And in fact, what's very interesting about this slide is if you look at what sleep debt does, and the point you made, uh, things like diet impact sleep, and sleep impacts appetite. And so
Yes,
it's almost circular, right? I mean, so I think you said it perfectly. It's a vicious cycle. And the only way to break out of it is to start making a change with one or the other, and ideally with eating.
correct. Very true. Correct. Next slide, please. Now, all these things add up. Wrong eating, wrong sleeping, wrong behaving, wrong everything.
Right,
Hmm? Your disturbed lifestyle and lifestyle disease or disorder manifests itself in various forms.
right,
And the one that comes up is anxiety.
correct.
Now, you are awake at 2 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock at night, whichever way you look at it, and you are worried about the PowerPoint you have to make to your boss next morning.
Right,
And when all those figures come, you got the standard deviation wrong, and you got this wrong, that wrong, or somebody, your competitor is going ahead of you, and he is putting you down. You can't manage one-upmanship with your competitor. All that stuff, inexorable bombardment of your personality, your life, with all these factors over which you have no control. And that leads to anxiety.
correct.
Anxiety, anger. This is another aspect which you have to study separately altogether. Anger is something. There is a subliminal anger in all our lives.
Correct.
You are angry at something or the other, and you may not admit it. You cannot admit that you are angry. You say, "Oh, I am fine," but you are angry somewhere.
Right,
That, mostly you are angry with your boss, or you are
right,
angry with your wife, whatever.
right,
So anger, anxiety, and depression. If you can't do anything with it, and if you are still suffering from it, you get depressed.
correct.
Now, anger, anxiety, depression, AAD, is
Right,
a major global catastrophe. Yeah,
correct.
you have something to say?
No, I think, yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And, all of this, just the fact that they're all interconnected is a very important point I am hearing from what you're saying.
Right. Very good. Next slide, please. Now, what do you do about your weight? Because your body weight, you just saw, is connected with the way you eat and the way you sleep, the way you move around.
Right,
And one simple way of making out where your body weight is going wrong is what is called as body mass index. We need not know the arithmetic or mathematics of this,
right,
but the calorie consumption you have,
right,
and the higher the inputs you have and lower the outputs you have, then you have a problem with your body mass. The body mass keeps on building till you correct it. How do you
correct.
correct it? There is no point in taking a medicine. Now, to take medicine in today's world is stupid, but most of the pharma companies and most of the healthcare organizations are dedicated to this. To give you medicine, of various kinds. There are 20 different chemical categories where you have to give a medicine, and then you find the body weight going down, and you think that you are doing fine because you lost 2 kgs in 2 days. You see advertisements like that. You know, nothing can be more stupid than that. Your body mass is already badly affected,
Right,
and that your body mass index is going up and up. You don't know how to control it. And to monitor it, you take this body mass index. Now, this index is a little outdated nowadays, but it is good. At most instances, it is good. So if you want to really keep a fox eye on your health, your body weight, you
Right.
have to calculate the body mass index that we will see later on. So this is something that we have to do. This is something doable. Now, this is something that we can monitor. And monitoring is with the body mass index is a with very legitimate and proper way of dealing with your body weight, and along with that, various other body indices, like that. Next slide, please.
Maybe before we move here, one point comes to me on this previous slide.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think you mentioned that some people might consider body mass index an outdated number today to look at. And with the proliferation of a lot of medical gadgetry and also healthcare, gyms and devices, people are all the time monitoring their glucose, monitoring their sugar, trying to optimize between the amount of fat you eat and sugar you eat. And I know you have always said that a lot of that is maybe misplaced, and a simpler and maybe better way to do it is just simply to actually eat less rather than try to micromanage all of this and keep simpler measures. Is that a fair point? And I know we can discuss this in another topic, but is that the point?
Absolutely true. Another example is the way you behave physically.
Right.
If you want to buy some vegetables, you take a car and then drive the car to the bazaar, and then you're back home, but you haven't lost a single calorie. Whereas in our old days, you would walk down to the potato walas or somebody and then see that what you are spending is also commensurate with what you have eaten, what you have consumed. And for which you don't need any gadgetry, you don't need any gizmos, you don't need anything fancy at all. Although market is flooded with all these items.
Right.
The number of competitive items that are available to you to see whether you are walking properly or not.
Right.
Now, you'll say how stupid it is. You say, walking from home to your bazaar, which nobody does. Nobody walks today.
Now you order it home. You order it home.
Order it at home. Yeah, that's the thing. That is a death knell of your good practice, if you like.
Yes, sorry. You were yeah, you were going to the next slide. Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah. Now the toxic, all these things going wrong leads to toxic behavior. Now this toxic behavior would lead to toxic relationships, and we will spend a good amount of time on toxic behavior, which includes everything. And everybody is having a toxic behavior. Your wife, your parents, your neighbors, your boss, everybody is toxic.
Yeah.
And if you're all toxic, how much of toxicity is going through? And again, where do you break the vicious cycle? And you have to accept and acknowledge that there is a reality of a toxic relationship between various members of the family and also the society. And you have to learn to address that. And then again, it's a chapter for another podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
Next slide, please. The smoke. The smoke is something that should have gone up in smoke, but it has not gone up in smoke. Smoke has stayed on in smoke.
Right.
This is a big, huge area where corporate worlds are spending literally unimaginable amounts of money to promote cigarette smoking, and at the same time to discourage cigarette smoking. You pay lip service to a company saying that cigarette smoking is good, bad, and the very next day you are optimizing, you are legitimizing your smoking habits, and you do it in a surreptitious way, So this is a very, very bad thing, and no government is able to ban cigarette. People say you ban tobacco, but nobody dares to ban tobacco. It's as simple as that. So it is something that needs deep introspection.
And the impact of nicotine, I think you have mentioned so very many times. Both nicotine and alcohol, there's a good reason why. Very simply put, they are just, have long-term health effects and far-reaching effects in whichever form. Whether you take a nicotine patch or whether you are doing vaping, one way or the other, it's going to have long-term impacts on the body.
True. Very. Next slide, please. Now, all this will have effects on body systems. And the most important body system today we are looking at is the cardiovascular or the heart related things.
Right.
Now, the history of cardiovascular disease is a little complex, and we need not go into the details, but it is very, very unimaginable for people to say you're promoting ABCD and then you are creating some other problem, and your heart has its deficits. It doesn't get enough of blood supply because some plaque is blocking the supply of blood and so forth.
Right.
Heart disease behavior, etc. will, in fact, this is connected with your physical exercise and so forth. All these interconnections, maybe we can spend a little time in a separate workshop.
This and diabetes are I think, some of the important ones that we do need to spend time on in a separate session. Absolutely.
Right, we'll do that. So next slide, please.
Yeah, that's it, I guess, for today. Right?
So, yeah, well, that's it more or less for now. This is an unending saga. We'll go on.
No, thank you so much, Doc. I think today was a little different, like we said in the beginning. It was more to, we were talking about one specific aspect of the physical and things like just diet. Take one like diet and sleep, and just between them, the kind of far-reaching effects that lack of balance can have, and how that can just simply take away wellness entirely. And it was a broad, in that sense, topic. Next, from the next ones on, we can go deeper into some of this. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Doc.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you next time.
Yes, same here.